Creepy Cartoon Theories Part 1. Barney is based on a serial killer. There's a theory that the show was based on a serial killer that was dressed as Barney. It is said that he was wearing a dinosaur costume and he was hanging around kids' parks. When a kid would go near him, he would talk to them and then kidnap them. But we don't know what he did to these kids. A lot of them believe that they were killed, but there is no evidence of that man and if that story is true. Do you believe it's true or just a myth?
Cartoon conspiracies that will ruin your childhood. Part 1.
One of the most influential cartoons ever, Scooby-Doo, has a deep, dark secret. The reason that the gang has never aged over the years is because they're actually not even alive. They're freelancing spirits wandering from town to town in order to expose fake ghosts to maybe one day wrest their own soul. And there's a reason that all the fish under the sea can talk and move around. It's believed that the town of Bikini Bottom is below the island of Bikini Atoll, an island that the US bombed 23 times during the Cold War to test nuclear weapons. All that radio fallout went into the ocean and created the characters that we know and love today.
Creepy Lost Cartoon Episodes Part 1. SuicideMouse.avi. This one is an unseen episode of Mickey Mouse. It starts with him walking around as a loop and without anything creepy. Then a loud cry starts in the background and Mickey's face starts to fall apart. The employee who first watched this left the room and told the guard to continue watching the episode. Legend says that the security guard killed himself by repeating the phrase, "Real suffering is not known." Would you watch the episode?
Courage the Cowardly Dog Theory Part 2. Alright, so this one got my mind racing, you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So basically, in the TV show, Courage pretty much lives in the middle of nowhere. Pretty much on a hill, in the middle of nowhere. But this is how the theory goes. What if Courage doesn't really live in the middle of nowhere? It's just his owners are too old to take him for walks, so as a little dog, he only knows that property. And anything past that property is nowhere, because Courage has never seen it. As always, leave your thoughts and theories down below in the comments, and also comment down below your favorite TV show and what theory goes with that TV show.
Creepy Lost Cartoon Episodes Part 18. SpongeBob Lies. This episode started with this background and with creepy music. SpongeBob was going to work when he saw a dead body hanging from a tree. He started screaming and ran to Krusty Krabs. He started working as usual without saying anything to anyone. But then suddenly everything got darker and you could hear screams in the background. And then SpongeBob says, "Everyone thinks that I'm a good person." Lies. Then Mr. Krabs entered the kitchen. SpongeBob attacked him and he started beating his head on the stove until Mr. Krabs' head had disappeared. Then he went to Squidward and he ripped his heart out. And then he brutally killed everyone else he knew. In the last scene, SpongeBob was at home with dead bodies all over the place. And he said, "Why Bikini Bottom, why?" I guess that this might be the only way out. So he slit his wrist and he wrote lies on it. He died shortly and the episode ended.
This is the scary truth behind the Flintstones. The Flintstones actually took place in a post-apocalyptic world. The Flintstones live in a world where technology like telephones, record players, and cars once existed. But due to a devastating nuclear war, they are now forced to rebuild in the Stone Age. What's even crazier, those who are wealthy enough to leave Earth, like the Jetsons, are living a charmed high-tech life in space. The Jetsons and the Flintstones are going on at the same time, and one family is living the dream above the clouds, and the other is living in a devastated post-apocalyptic world.
The Simpsons lost episode, Bart's Dead. The episode comes to us at season 1. After leaving for school late, this results in Bart Simpson being late for a plane ride and has to catch another one. Apparently, the plane was having some engine trouble and it crashes, killing everybody on board, even our beloved Bart Simpson. Throughout the majority of the episode, it's all about mourning from the family over the loss of Bart, until a flashback shows Bart inside of a coffin going to a cemetery. Inside of this cemetery where Bart is laid to rest, there are headstones depicting celebrities. One noted celebrity was Michael Jackson from season 3 and predicted his death on point.
Conspiracy Theories Part 1. Timmy Turner never wanted his godparents to be taken away from him. So right before his 13th birthday, when they get taken away, he wishes to be a different person, making him Danny Phantom. When Timmy Turner wished to become Danny Phantom, he basically created a whole new universe. But when Timmy Turner became Danny Phantom, he didn't go alone. Everyone from Fairly Godparents went into Danny Phantom as well. AJ from Fairly Godparents becomes Tucker from Danny Phantom. Tootie from Fairly Godparents becomes Sam from Danny Phantom. Trixie from Fairly Godparents becomes Paulina from Danny Phantom. Chester from Fairly Godparents becomes Dash from Danny Phantom. Mr. and Mrs. Turner become Mr. and Mrs. Phantom. Wanda becomes Jazz, and Cosmo becomes Frostbite. Mr. Crocker turns into Vlad. Jordan becomes Walker, and Fairy World from Fairly Godparents becomes the Ghost World from Danny Phantom. Pretty cool!
Creepy Lost Cartoon Episodes Part 10. This one is Barney's lost episode. You could feel that something wasn't right from the beginning. First of all, you could hear whispering during the music. After a few minutes, Barney appeared, but his voice was weird. It was like having two voices, one normal and one demonic. He said, "Hi kids, today I'm gonna teach you about death." His face suddenly turns angry and he grows sharp teeth. Then he laughs and bites a child's head off. He started chasing the rest of the kids and eating them. Then the other two dinosaurs came and said, "Well Barney, what did we learn today?" And Barney said, "Remember kids, don't bother locking your doors and hiding under the bed because I will find you and kill you." And then the episode ended with a creepy photo of Barney.
Conspiracies Part 5, Ed and Eddy. This one I researched a long time ago, about the same time I researched the Rugrats one, so it's no new news. It's really interesting actually. So what they believe is that Ed and Eddy actually takes place in purgatory. If you don't know, purgatory is like the middle of like the earth and like heaven, and like it's like a middle ground place that some people do believe in. I guess they said the lack of adult supervision is why they really think this. So they're literally all in purgatory is how it's explained, but in different time frame, going anywhere from the early 1900s to 2000s. So here they show each character and what time frame they're supposed to be from. This is one you guys will have to look into yourself because it's just so much to explain about each kid. But example, they said Jimmy was in the 2000s. They say he had leukemia and that's why he never associated with the other kids. They say that's why it's hard to pinpoint the years for them. I don't know if it's true. I don't really know much about Ed and Eddy, so that'll kind of be up to you guys. What do you guys think?
Is Peggy Hill Butthead's mom? If you can see, Mike Judge created King of the Hill and Beavis and Butthead. And if you look at this old picture of Mike Judge, look at his hairline. Very similar to Butthead's. I don't know. I think it is.
Theories Part 1. The Courage the Cowardly Dog Theory. So the plot of the TV show is Courage has to overcome his own fears and protect his owners from oncoming dangers, such as paranormal. So with that being said, the theory goes like this. Courage is actually a normal dog, and the TV show takes place through his point of view. So the theory also states that the villains in the TV show are actually normal people just visiting the house, but to little dogs, people that they don't know or can't remember, basically they kind of classify them as intruders. But in Courage's case, monsters trying to harm or attack his owners. Alright, so there's more to this theory, so come back for part 2.
Creepy Lost Cartoon Episodes Part 2. Squidward's Suicide. The episode starts with Squidward sitting on his bed with creepy music playing in the background. Then you get flashes of dead children, and when it cuts back to Squidward, his face is black with red eyes. And then a strange voice tells him to shoot himself with a gun. He does exactly that, he dies, and the video ends. Even the police investigated, but they couldn't find who made the video.
It's a little ditty called
Why do I always get the nuts?
SpongeBob's Nuclear Radiation. A talking sponge. Pet snails. Squirrels with above-average intelligence. Strange occurrences. When first premiering in 1999, the world of SpongeBob SquarePants and Bikini Bottom was certainly a quirky one, and it is not just a random occurrence. The entire city was built under Bikini Atoll, a nuclear testing site from the 1940s. Because of the nuclear testing, theories have developed saying everything in Bikini Bottom is the result of nuclear exposure. The Flying Dutchman may not even be a ghost, but some crazy pirate who is exposed to way too much radiation and has a green glow because of it. Nuclear bombs are some powerful stuff.
Alright, so today with Cartoon Conspiracies with Bree, we're talking about The Simpsons. So this one has had a lot of conspiracy when it comes to time travel. Because a lot of people believe either the writers or the producers or somebody's a time traveler. They just predict too much. So it all started in 1994 when they predicted autocorrect on an iPhone. At this time, there was no iPhones. There were barely cell phones. And when there were cell phones, they definitely didn't autocorrect or text. Also predicted the Siegfried and Roy accident, an Ebola outbreak, Hornets, COVID, and that Trump would run for president in 2016, and he had a red tie on, just like he does now. They predicted the winners of the Super Bowl 1992 to 1994, and that Disney would buy 20th Century Fox. Who knows, maybe Apple saw the iPhone and was like, hey, that inspired me to do it, but some of them seem really suspicious. People say they either hint or just make fun of the fact that we think they're time travelers once they gave us the show Futurama. So what do you guys think? You already know I believe in time travel. Are they time?
Conspiracy Theories Part 4. Ariel and her 6 sisters represent the 7 seas. Hear me out. Ariel obviously represents the Red Sea because of her red hair. Her sisters, on the other hand, are a little bit more complicated, so stick with me. Atina is the Bering Sea because Bering Sea is the largest and Atina is the oldest. Alana is pretty simple. She represents the Black Sea because of her black hair. Adela represents the Mediterranean Sea because of her personality is romantic. Aquata is the Coral Sea because of her personality is shy. Arista is the White Sea because of her hair. Andrina is the Caribbean Sea because her personality is carefree. So that actually leaves their mom. So does that mean that her mom was the Dead Sea? Do you get it? Because she's dead? Pretty cool!
First on our list, we have Ren and Stimpy's Man's Best Friend. This episode is famous for being the banned episode of Ren and Stimpy, and contributed to getting the creator of Ren and Stimpy fired. Ren and Stimpy had around 20 episodes that were banned, and more than 20 scenes from episodes that were banned from Nickelodeon. And if you grew up in the 90s or early 2000s, then you would have been able to see this show on daytime television. But now it only airs on Teen Nick, I believe. And if you grew up watching this show like me, then you completely understand. It's disturbing, but to me, I absolutely loved it. It was the definition of cartoon. This episode specifically was banned because of the violence and drug usage. Not to mention, Nickelodeon just didn't like some of the characters, specifically the one in this episode. I feel like the inhumane obedience training, the distress that the characters went through, and manipulation should have played in why the episode was banned in the first place.